Hello and welcome back to This Is Me, but it's all about you. So I'm Tina Willis, and wherever you are listening from, thank you for joining me. So this is episode 7. Maybe you're driving to work, guys. Maybe you're walking the dog. Maybe you're sitting having a coffee like I am, or maybe you just simply found yourself needing a little breathing space. However you found me today, I am glad you're here with me because this is where I want to open up about everything that we go through. This is why I've called it This Is Me, but it's all about you, because everything we feel, everything we do, all the emotions, we all have the same fears, doubts, insecurities, worries. And I am really glad you're here, as I've said, because today I want to talk about something that affects every single one of us. And that's that word fear. All right. And I don't mean the fear of spiders or tigers or, those animals that can hurt you or snakes, I mean the fear that whispers to you quite often, every single day. The whispers that say that you're too old, the whispers that say that you left it too late, or maybe it's that whisper in your head that says you're not clever enough. It could be that people say to you, you don't do things like this. And that starts that fear and that worry going, or people say to you, what if you fail? Or you start thinking, what if I fail? And what if people judge me? All those thoughts and emotions and those fears keep going into our heads over and over again. And I want to ask you something. Have you ever noticed that fear never shouts out loud, does it? It whispers. It does. It's just like that constant niggle in your brain. And it's quiet. It's persistent. It's like, day after day. And you stop questioning it. You start believing it. And today I want to challenge something about it. Because what if fear has been lying to you all along? We are the most powerful human beings out there. We're the most powerful animals out there because what we think, we become. Our thoughts are so powerful. And one of the biggest lessons I've learned over the last few years is this: our lives don't change because our circumstances change. Our lives change because we start thinking differently. All right. And everything starts with a thought. A thought becomes a belief. A belief becomes a decision. A decision becomes an action, and those actions become our future. And I want to repeat that now because a thought becomes a belief becomes a decision, and a decision becomes an action. And those actions create our future. And I want you to think about that for a moment. If I wake up every morning believing I'm too old, I'm not confident, I'm not technical, I'm not capable, how am I likely to behave? I won't do anything. I won't ask anything. I won't try anything. I won't stretch myself. I won't, get out there and show who I am. I would stay in the same stuck state that I had been all my life. Nothing would have changed. Nothing. And then I would tell myself, see, I knew I couldn't do it. But was that ever the truth? Or did I simply prove the story that I'd kept telling myself all these years? That question changed my life. 6.5 years ago, I was 57. I'd spent over 30 years climbing that corporate ladder like so many people out there. I believed that success meant working hard, longer hours, much more responsibility, more pressure, more promotions. But every pay rise seemed to come with even more expectations because the higher I climbed that corporate ladder, the less time I was having to live my life. And on paper, everything looked amazing. It looked wonderful. I was successful. But inside, something didn't feel right. And I knew there had to be more for me. All right. Not because I hated my career. No, my career served me well over the time, financially, until it didn't serve me anymore. And it was because I no longer recognized the woman that was looking back at me in the mirror. You know, it was just, it was just saying I had got to have more. And yet something kept stopping me. And do you know what it was? It wasn't my age. It wasn't money. It wasn't technology. It wasn't the opportunity. It was the conversation that I kept having over and over in my own head. Who do you think you are? You'll fail. You've spent 25 to 30 years doing one thing. People like you don't start again. Have you ever heard that voice in your head too? And you know, it's something fascinating really, because that word fear, that feeling we have, is incredibly clever. It rarely pops up and says to you, "Hi, I'm fear." Instead, it disguises itself as something called common sense. I'll wait until next year. I'll wait until I have more confidence. I'll wait until the children have grown up. I'll wait till retirement. I'll wait until the timing is perfect. Can I tell you something? Perfect timing doesn't exist anyway, because confidence isn't what comes first. Action comes first. And I've said this before. Action comes first and confidence follows. And that's exactly what happened to me. You know, every tiny step I took built my confidence, not the other way around. Not the other way around. So I want to paint you a picture, all right? Imagine, guys, that you're going away on holiday. You've packed your suitcase. You've carefully chosen everything you want to take with you, your favourite clothes, your favourite shoes, your toiletries, everything that's going to help you enjoy your journey. Now imagine carrying a second suitcase. But this time, this one isn't filled with clothes, all right? It's filled with thoughts. The thoughts, I'm too old. I'm not good enough. I'll never succeed. I'm not technical. I'm not worthy of this. And every single day, you pick that suitcase up, you carry it into work, you carry it into conversations, you carry it into relationships, and you carry it into opportunities. And eventually that suitcase becomes so heavy that you stop moving forward altogether. But here's the question. Whose suitcase are you carrying? Did you pack it with all those thoughts? Or did someone else? Was it a teacher from your past who told you you weren't capable? Was it a parent who doubted you? An old boss that dissed you? A former partner that made you feel small? Society as a whole? So maybe, just maybe, it's time to unpack that stuffing suitcase and only keep the beliefs that actually belong to you and nobody else. Because I always say, whose hands do you want on the steering wheel of your ship, guys? And when you get to your time in life that you are due to pass, whose hands have taken you on that life journey? Are they yours or somebody else's? Because, you know, fear isn't just about what stops us today. It's about what it quietly steals over a lifetime. How many dreams has fear taken away from you? How many opportunities? How many adventures? How many versions of yourself never had the chance to exist because fear convinced you to stay where you were? And that thought makes me emotional, because it happened to me so many times. And you know, I get to travel and to live an amazing life now because of an online business I joined 6.5 years ago. And I get to meet so many wonderful people, talented, kind, intelligent, capable. But those people were like me. They probably spent years waiting until they felt ready, waiting until they felt brave, waiting until they felt confident. So can I tell you a little secret? Nobody feels completely ready. You know, we simply decided that our dreams mattered more than our fear. And that's why I'm part of this amazing global business now, where all of us decided that our dreams matter more than our fear. And there's a quote that I absolutely love, you know, fear will always give you reasons. Fear will always give you possibilities. Think about that. Fear will always give you reasons. Fear will always give you, sorry, I'll start that again. I got that wrong. It's fear will always give you reasons. Faith will always give you possibilities. See, I'm not perfect, am I? But I know where it comes from. And I want you to think about that. Fear will always give you reasons. Faith will always give you possibilities. Think about that. What voice have you been listening to? You know? And when I started my online business, it wasn't actually the biggest thing that happened to me. The biggest thing was when I discovered I was far more capable than I had ever given myself credit for. Every conversation I had, every challenge I faced, every presentation I did, every person I helped, every stage I've stood on globally, every page I've written in this book. This is me, but it's all about you. Every podcast that I've recorded has been proof that fear was wrong. Not because I suddenly became fearless. I still get the sweats on, guys, when I'm going on stage or when I'm doing these podcasts, you know, but I stopped allowing fear to make my decisions. So I want to ask you 3 questions today. What is fear telling you today? Think about it. Is whatever you're hearing in your head actually true? And what would your life look like if you stopped believing it? Because perhaps your next chapter is waiting on the other side of that one amazing decision. So before I leave you today, I'd love to share with you a Tina thought. Fear has a voice, so does possibility. And the question isn't which voice is louder. The question is, which one are you choosing to believe? And I'm going to repeat that. Fear has a voice, but so does possibility. The question isn't which voice is louder. The question is, which one are you choosing to believe? So thank you so much for spending time with me today. You know, if this episode resonated with you, would you share it with somebody who needs reminding that they're so much capable of more than they will ever realize? Ever realize. And if you're enjoying this podcast, please follow, please subscribe, please love, and leave a review. And, you know, it really does help these conversations reach more people, guys. Remember, you are not too old. You are not too late. You are not behind. You are just simply one decision away from being a completely different chapter for your life. So until next time, take care of yourself, keep believing, and never, ever stop becoming the person that you were always meant to be. Lots of love from me. I'm Tina, and this has been wonderful talking to you. This is me, but it's all about you. See you next time.